Hello everyone, I'm so excited that you guys are here. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day so far. I want to talk to you guys today about something that is, in my opinion, the single most underused leverage point in a life insurance agent's business. And I'm not talking about your follow-up, and I'm not talking about your dialer, I'm not talking about your carrier, I'm not talking about your CRM. I'm talking about the first 10 words on top of every single thing that you put out. The first 10 words on your Facebook ad, the first 10 words you say on a voicemail, the first 10 words of your direct message when you reach out to a lead on Instagram, and the first 10 words you say when somebody finally jumps on a discovery call with you. Those first 10 words are doing almost all of the work in your business, and most agents have never actually sat down and written them with any kind of real intention. And I'm going to show you today using a guy named John Caples in a book he wrote in 1932 called Tested Advertising Methods, why the first 10 words are where the entire campaign lives, and what you have to change starting Monday morning to fix it. Okay, so with that being said, let me actually back up for just a second and tell you who this guy John Caples was. So Caples was a copywriter in the 1920s and 1930s, and what made him different, what made him special from every other copywriter at that point in history, is he tested his ads. Caples is the guy who basically wrote the textbook on what makes an ad work, and the entire ad business has been, I would say, running on his rules for 90 plus years. And every Facebook ad that you've seen, every marketing team that you've hired, any funnel builder you've ever paid, any copywriter you've ever met is running, I would say knowingly or not, on Caples' rules. So if you can go straight to the guy who wrote the textbook, then you can skip a lot of pain, a lot of years of mistakes, a lot of time and money that was wasted. Now, here's a line in his book that I actually want you to hear and think about, because this is the line that should change at least how you spend your marketing budget. So on page 11, like every time that I get a quote or every time that I get inspired from a book that I read to make a video, I try to quote like verbatim and give credit to the people that I'm learning from. So on page 11, Caples writes, and once again, I'm reading this verbatim. He says, I have seen one mail order advertisement actually sell not twice as much, not 3 times as much, but 19 and a half times as much goods as another. Both advertisements occupied the same space of a magazine, of a newspapers. Both were run in the same publication. Both had photographic illustrations. Both had carefully written copy. The difference was that one used the right appeal and the other one used the wrong appeal. So I want you to think about that again in your head. 19 and a half times, not 20% more, not double, not triple, but 19 and a half times the sales. Now, can you imagine that for a second? Like, what would 19 and a half times the sales that you're currently making, right? Taking your sales and multiplying them by almost 20, what would that do for your business, right? 19 and a half times the sales with the same product, the same marketing size, the same publication, the same body copy underneath. The only thing that changed was the appeal at the top. And the appeal at the top is what we today call the headline of a marketing campaign. The thing the prospect actually sees first. The thing that decides whether they read the next sentence of your marketing or scroll past you. And so with that being said, if a 19 and a half times difference is possible, what that tells you is you don't have a media problem, you don't have a marketing budget problem, you don't have a CRM problem, you have a headline problem. And the agents who treat that problem like it's a small problem are the ones whose cost to acquire a customer keeps getting higher and higher and higher while their commissions stay the same. And so the fact of the matter is, when most agents try to fix their business, they don't touch the headline, they change the script, they changed the dialer, they changed the product that they're offering, they switched lead vendors, they pay for a new CRM, and they will literally spend thousands of dollars doing all these different things before they spend 20 minutes rewriting the first 10 words of their top ad, which is the headline. And that is the thing that's actually killing your sales and killing the math, because Caples proved on real mail order ads and like real magazines, the headline is what does the work, and everything underneath the headline can be the same. You can have the same call to action, you can have the same picture, you can have the same product, you can have the same offer, and the headline moves the result by multiples, not by percentages. 20% better follow-up doesn't change your life drastically. 3 times more leads from the same ad spend, from the same marketing budget, does. And it's hiding in the first 10 words of your marketing. Okay, so now let's get practical, because this is the part where this becomes a tool that you can actually use. Caples didn't just say headlines matter and walk away. He says in his books what has to be in a headline for it to work. And on page 30 or so of the book, he writes like, this analysis suggests that there are 4 important qualities that a good headline may possess. They are: number 1, self-interest; number 2, news; number 3, curiosity; and number 4, quick, easy way. And then he says one more line that I want you to hold on to. He writes, self-interest is by far the most important of these headline qualities. News comes next in importance. So out of those 4, self-interest is the boss. Self-interest is the rule. Everything else has to serve. And when you look at most life insurance agent ads on Facebook today, almost none of them open with self-interest. They open with the agent's introduction, their name, their licenses. They open with the company name. They open with the word insurance. None of those things are self-interest from the prospect's point of view. The prospect doesn't care that you're licensed in 11 states. The prospect cares about themselves and the people who depend on them. So let me show you what self-interest actually sounds like. Caples gives some of his own examples in the book. Another $50 raise, or retire at 55. And the reason those work is you read them and you instantly say like, that's about me. Like, I want to retire at 55. Not about the product, not about the company, about me. Like, the reader, it catches their attention in just 5 words, 10 words, like something very small. So when you translate all of this to life insurance, the question is, what does self-interest look like in the first 10 words for the dream client you actually want? And that's why it's so important to figure out who your dream client is, who your niche is, who your dream avatar is. So for example, in my scenario, if my dream client is a Florida working mother in their 30s or 40s with a child with special needs, self-interest in the first 10 words is something like, hey, the trust your child with special needs will rely on after you're gone. That's self-interest, because the prospect is the parent and the trust is for the child. So if your dream client is a business owner who has a partner and they don't have a buy-sell agreement and they own, like, for example, a dental clinic, self-interest in the first 10 words sounds like, what happens to your dental clinic if your partner dies tomorrow? That's self-interest, because the prospect is the partner who would walk into chaos, right? Neither of those sentences mention life insurance. Neither of those sentences mention you as a life insurance agent. And so neither of those sentences sound like a generic ad. And that is Caples' rule number 1 in action. Now, I want to bring this all the way back to your business and your numbers, because the 4 appeals, which are self-interest, news, curiosity, and the quick and easy way, they don't just apply to your ads, they apply to every single one of the 4 lead points where you bleed leads. So the first 10 words on your Facebook ad, the first 10 words on your phone calls or the voicemails that you leave, the first 10 words of your DM when you reach out to a lead, on Instagram or like any sort of like social media platform, and the first 10 words you say on a discovery call, all four of those, you could see them as headlines. The voicemail you leave is a headline. The DM you send is a headline. The first sentence of the discovery call is a headline. The first thing inside of your funnel, that's a headline. And they all live and die by Caples' four qualities. And almost every agent I've ever like looked at with their marketing and stuff, they fail all four leagues at the same time. The Facebook ad opens with, "Hey, are you looking for life insurance?" Which has no self-interest, no news, no curiosity, no easy way. Sometimes the DM opens up with, "Hey, I saw your profile and figured I'd reach out," which once again has no self-interest, no news, no curiosity, no easy way. And the discovery call opens with, "Hey, tell me a little bit about yourself," which has no self-interest, once again, no news, no curiosity, no easy way. So the agent has four leagues at four different points in the funnel, and the agent is not changing the headline in any of them. The agent buys new follow-up tools instead of changing the headline, and I think it's David Ogilvy that says something along the lines of 80% of the dollar that you spend on marketing goes to the headline. So what does this mean? If you spend $100 in marketing, $80 of those $100 go to the headline, because most people decide based on the headline if they want to opt in, if they want to become a lead, if they want to give you their contact information or not, based on the headline. And so the agents who finally start to scale are the agents who fix the headlines at the league points, right? At the four league points that I just talked about, and there are many other different headlines, and they stop fixing everything else, right? Or at least they focus most of their marketing attention in the headline itself. Now let me give you the proof just one more time, just so you really feel this. Caples in his book gives you like a split test result, and a split test is like when you split test, right? When you test two different things and see how each one performs. And he says that he ran an ad. The ad, "Keep your dog safe this summer," brought like 56% more sample requests, and that's 56% more. The same ad budget, the same publication, and they just did a headline change. He also says like by actual count, 3 times as many customers answered the ads. 3 times. Once again, 3 times is a huge difference. Sometimes like when you say three, you see it's a small number, but 3 times is a big number. And then he talks about a savings ad, and he says that of 2 savings advertisements displayed under similar circumstances, one stopped 9 persons out of 1,000, right? Very small amount. And the other 34, right? Almost 4 times more attention from the same product. Same placement, it was just a different headline. So these are real paid tested results that you can learn from. And the gap between the agent who is fighting for survival and the agent who is scaling in many cases is sitting right there in those numbers. It's the gap between an ad that pulls 9 and an ad that pulls 34 leads. And it could be the same product, the same offer. As a matter of fact, that's what they did. They did the same product, the same offer, the same calendar booking page underneath. It was just a different first 10 words. Okay, so what do you do with this Monday morning? And this is the part where it becomes a tool. Take out a yellow pad, pull up your top Facebook ad, for example, if you're running Facebook ads or Instagram ads, meta ads in general. Read the first 10 words out loud and then ask yourself just 4 questions. Question 1, do these first 10 words contain self-interest for my dream client? Yes or no? Question 2, do these first 10 words contain like news that the prospect doesn't already know? Yes or no? Question 3, do these first 10 words hint at a story loop or a curiosity my prospect has to close, right? People don't like to leave like open loops, so they like to close the loop. So does it have enough curiosity? Yes or no? And question 4, do these first 10 words signal what comes next is going to be quick and easy? Yes or no? And if you got fewer than 2 yeses, that's the ad headline that you have to rewrite for the week. And then you do the same thing with your voicemail script. The same 4 questions, you run the same exact audit, and then your DM opener, right? Same 4 questions. Then first sentence of your discovery call, same 4 questions. And that is maybe like 30 minutes of work that will move the cost to acquire a client more than anything else that you can do, right? Take a look at your headline, and I cannot stress this enough. And the fact of the matter is that 30 minutes might be the most expensive 30 minutes of work you ever skip in your business. So I'm asking you to do it this week. And so the takeaway I want you to walk away with from the video is this. Most agents are tweaking the wrong thing. They're changing the parts of the business that don't move the results, that don't move the needle forward, and leaving the part that does move the result alone. They're not doing anything with it. They're not changing their headline. They're not split testing. And so Caples proved on Real Ads 90 years ago that the first 10 words can change the result, not by percentages, but by multiples. 19 and a half times. And those are real numbers, not only from his book, but from his advertisement. And the same mechanic is alive on Facebook and Instagram today, or Meta ads, or whatever, wherever you run ads, because human attention, human psychology has not changed. Self-interest still wins, news still wins, a story loop still wins, right? That's exactly why when you're watching a show and they leave an open loop at the end of the episode, you're like, oh my God, I want to watch the episode. And then you start watching the episode if it came out already. Human psychology hasn't changed. That's why, once again, that story loop wins. And also, quick and easy still wins. So the question I want you to walk away with is, are the first 10 words of every place a prospect meets you doing those 4 jobs? Or are they doing none of them? And if they're doing none of them, you found your leverage. Fix the first 10 words of your headline and your advertisement, and you stop tweaking all the other things that are not moving the needle forward, and you start scaling.